Iain Duncan Smith, Philip Hammond today in Davos is reported to have said in a speech that he hopes for only a very modest change in the relationship between Britain and the EU after Brexit. And here we have Jacob Rees-Mogg saying the exact opposite. Pretty wide spectrum of opinion in the party, isn't there?
Yes, I'm a little bit puzzled about the Chancellor's intervention, though, because in our manifesto we were very clear that, and the public voted for two parties that said they were leaving the customs union, leaving the single market. They were not going to have freedom of movement because we were also going to take back control of our borders and our laws. Now, all of that was very explicit in the manifesto signed up to by the government and which the public voted for. That means quite substantial change, not minor change. Yes, of course, we want to remain good friends and allies and cooperate and trade and have a good trade arrangement, but it is substantial change. So to that extent, I haven't seen the Jacob Rees-Mogg speech, but from what I've heard, I think he is much closer to where the government was at the time of the election and needs to be as we go through, which is we have a real need for clarity, a sense of vision about our future, where we intend ourselves to be, and a restatement of the fact that we won't be in a customs union of any sort with the European Union after we leave, and that during the implementation phase, new rules and new regulations will have some way of dealing with that. Otherwise, we'll become rule takers in a worse position than we are right now.
So is this concern about the transition period, what that will look like, or is this part of a broader concern about the eventual end state of the relationship between Britain and the EU after Brexit?
No, I think people have accepted that there will be as the Prime Minister says herself, an implementation period, which is somewhat different from transition. It means you will start implementing the things that you agree with, but everyone's accepted that, and up to 2 years, it may even be shorter, the Commission said the other day, possibly shorter. The question, obviously the big question, is what's our relationship with them afterwards, and that's really where the negotiations are important. But there are some very clear red lines from the manifesto and from the government's position at the Lancaster House speech and in Florence, which is we won't be members of a customs union, and that means no specially cobbled together customs union either afterwards. We're not in the single market, we will no longer see the rule of the Court of Justice, and we won't have freedom of movement. All those are very, very clear, and they're substantial changes, but we want to have a good relationship with Europe, trading and otherwise. But that's not the same as staying in. That's a very fundamental difference. These need to be absolutely specified and clear.
What about the timing of this intervention by Jacob Rees-Mogg? It's preempting a major speech by the Brexit Secretary, David Davis, tomorrow. It's a show of strength, isn't it?
Well, I think I can't get inside Jacob Rees-Mogg's head, but I think that the element here is if there's going to be a speech made tomorrow by the Secretary of State, I think he needs to deal with these issues that are bubbling around at the moment. The party, the country, everything was very clear about our position. We need to ensure that that clarity is restated tomorrow, and that going forward, in due course, the Prime Minister herself is able to say, this is my vision about our relationship with Europe. And a big jewel in the crown of all of this is to get trade arrangements. So we hear today America wants to do one first in the queue, Australia, New Zealand, there's lots of countries are ready to do this with us. But we can't do that if we remain locked into a customs union or in the implementation phase too long. All of this needs to be clearly stated. These are our essential red lines.
Iain Duncan Smith, thank you very much.